De'Aaron Fox just locked in a new deal. 4 years, $229 million, signed a whole year before his current contract was even up. Normally, that's the kind of headline that makes a fan base celebrate, right? Your star is staying put, no free agency drama, no sleepless nights wondering will he stay or go, just 4 more seasons of high-level basketball. But when it came to De'Aaron Fox's extension, things went down absolutely differently. The second the news dropped, the takes came flying in. Spurs haters sharpening their knives like it's Thanksgiving, casual fans calling it a franchise killer, even some San Antonio supporters asking out loud if this was the move that buried their future before it even started. But why did people react like that? To answer that, we need to go back to the very start of the story and figure out how Fox ended up in San Antonio. So let's rewind and look at how we even got here. Year 2023. Sacramento finally makes the playoffs for the first time in a million years. They flame out in the first round, make some questionable trades, and fire the coach who actually got them there. Rumors start swirling that Fox isn't happy, maybe even quietly asking out. The Spurs swoop in and trade for him, basically for a bag of potatoes. Spurs fans celebrate, convinced they just stole a star for almost nothing. Then reality sets in. Stars don't play for free, and eventually Fox would need an extension. San Antonio then lands the number 2 pick in the draft and grabs Dylan Harper, a point guard of the future. By summer, the tone shifts. Suddenly, Fox isn't seen as a top 10 point guard, some so-called media float rumors about a possible injury that could sideline him for months, and the narrative becomes Fox has to take less money. Instead, the Spurs hand him a full max. 4 years, $229 million. And the fan reaction? Shock, disappointment, frustration. Plenty of people calling it an overpay that could destroy the franchise. Now let's step back and look at this with a cooler head. Do I think it was the perfect deal? No. I expected something like $200 to $210 million, so yeah, technically it's an overpay. But it's not the kind of overpay that ruins your cap sheet. When most of your core is still on rookie deals, you can afford to overpay a little without going anywhere near cap hell. Fox is also 27, which means this deal covers his prime, not his decline. Some panicked voices are already calling this the next Bradley Beal situation. A bloated contract you can't move. But there's no comparison. Fox is younger, healthier, still ascending, and the Spurs' payroll still has flexibility because the salary cap is rising faster than Fox's deal. They've got expiring contracts with Barnes and Olynyk, plus Devin and Keldon coming up in the next few years. And most importantly, this is the moment San Antonio officially shifts from rebuilding to contending. People love to complain that the Spurs don't spend on stars, then complain again when they actually do. At some point, you just accept that this is the market. They paid market value for an all-star point guard and sent a clear message. If you've got the talent, San Antonio will pay. And here's the other piece. You can't separate Fox's extension from the trade that brought him here. The bargain trade and the expensive contract aren't two different stories. They're one. Spurs gave up very little to get him, and it seems pretty obvious there was already a handshake agreement with Rich Paul's camp. Fox comes to San Antonio, and when the time comes, he gets the max. Without that promise, the Spurs don't land him for that price. Maybe they don't land him at all. Yes, the picture changed when the Spurs won the number 2 pick and drafted Harper. But trying to back out of the deal, slash Fox's money, or flip him right after, that would have been the wrong play. Reputation matters in this league. You burn an agent like Rich Paul, no star wants to work with you again. And the Spurs, they take that seriously. Just look at last season with Chris Paul. It was pretty clear there was an understanding he'd start the whole year. Once Fox arrived and Stephon Castle started developing, it didn't make much sense to keep CP3 in the lineup. But San Antonio honored the promise anyway, because that's how you build trust. And Fox's deal? Same story. You honor your word, even when circumstances shift. That's how you build reputation. So, what really changed for the Spurs after Fox signed this max? Honestly, nothing. They couldn't let him walk, and they didn't. The future is still wide open. Maybe they find a way to make Fox fit with Harper and Castle. Maybe one of the young guys doesn't quite reach star level. Or maybe the opposite happens. Harper and Castle both pop, and Fox becomes a huge trade asset, which will help to get some bigger star. In the end, by a strange coincidence, just yesterday, Giannis reminded everyone of himself again, saying that his future is still not 100% decided. The Spurs didn't close any doors by keeping Fox. They kept them all open. The only question now is which one they'll walk through first.